I'm going to walk you through my process for doing multi-axis with a twist, which can be done with nothing more than a straight edge, a pencil, and a compass. In a pinch, you don't even need a compass. I will sometimes grab a nickel or a penny or a quarter and trace that around to create my circles rather than needing a compass. But if you have a compass, it's probably best to use one. So I've already done a little bit of the prep work ahead of time. I've taken my blank and I've marked out corner to corner using a straight edge. You could also use your standard center finder. And I've done that on both ends. This line along there is parallel on both ends. I'm going to use this corner up here as my reference corner. And anytime I move the piece around, I'm always going to make sure that reference corner stays in the same position. So when I flip it over, I want that reference corner up there. If I flip the piece this way, I want to rotate around this reference corner there. So now that I've found my true center, I need to mark out where my 3 parallel points will be. I'm going to do something with 3 sides. They should be, so my 3 points should be evenly spaced, 120 degrees apart. There's 360 degrees in a circle. We're dividing that circle into 3, so each segment will be 120 degrees. That will give us a 120 degree twist. To do that, I'm simply going to take my compass. I'm going to set it to a particular radius. The radius itself doesn't matter all that much. I'm going to set it right on the center point, and I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to do the same thing on both ends, right on that center point, and draw a circle. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a little bit on the light side. Now I'm going to take the compass without changing the radius, and I'm going to set it on a point. So there's my circle is bisected by that large diagonal line running from corner to corner. Where the line crosses the circle, one of those points will be one of my 3 points I'm going to do my turning on. The other point where it crosses the circle is where I'm going to set my compass now. So I set my compass on that point, and I always do the point opposite my reference corner up there, and I just need to strike an arc. You'll notice that that arc runs right through the true center of the piece. It's absolutely intentional. It should do that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other end, opposite from my reference corner or away from my reference corner, and there's my arc there. So now I have on each side, I have a point here, I have a point where my 2 circles intersect here, and I have a point where my 2 circles intersect here. This point is no longer used. We don't use that at all moving forward. Flip it end for end. I have a point here, and then I have 2 points where the 2 circles intersect. Those 3 points are exactly 120 degrees apart, and those points are parallel to each other on each end. Now I just need to do my layout. So here's my trick for doing the layout. I will consider this side A. Doesn't really matter which is which, but I like to do A first. On side A, I start with this point up here, the point that was opposite where we set our compass just a second ago. I number this as point number 1, and then I number these going clockwise. This becomes point number 2, and this becomes point number 3. Now you'll notice I'm numbering my circle on the inside of the circle. If I number it on the outside, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to turn those center points away. Don't ask me how I know that. So side number A is done. 1, 2, 3 clockwise, starting from that upper position up near my reference corner. Flip it over. This is my reference corner. This is now side B, and I want to number it. I do not want this to be point number 1. That's point number 1 on the other side. That would create a parallel point, and that's not what we're going for. We're trying to create a twist. So here's the difference. I need to put point number 1 here or point number 1 here. The difference is a right-hand twist and a left-hand twist. If I start here with number 1, that gives me a right-hand twist. If I start here with number 1, that gives me a left-hand twist. I generally like this starting here. That's a right-hand twist. Now on side B, it doesn't matter if I start here or here, I'm always going to number this going counterclockwise. So this becomes point number 2, and this becomes point number 3. Now when I put it on the lathe, I put it on so that point number 1 is lined up with point number 1. I turn that face. Point number 2 is lined up with point number 2. I turn that face. Point number 3 is lined up with point number 3. And I turn that face. The twist happens automatically. We don't have to think about it. All we have to do now is put it on the lathe between centers and start to turn.